Hi students, very good evening all. Welcome back to Sri Ramanuja Vidya Mandir. Students, now I would like to explain about the fertilization and pre-fertilization events that have been taking place in the female reproductive system. In the before class, I gave you details about the male reproductive system and female reproductive system. Right, let us start today's class, students. So let me give once again a small glance about the female reproductive system. Students, female reproductive system consists of a pair of ovaries. These are the ovaries, students. And at the center we have the uterus. This is the uterus, and a small pipe-like structure is there, which is connecting ovary with the uterus is oviduct. Oviduct, and this also named as fallopian tube. Fallopian tube, and the inner tissue which is present inside the uterus is endometrium. Endometrium, and a small hair-like, finger-like projections you will be there at the end of the fallopian tube, that is fimbriae. And this is the cervix, and here vagina will come. These are the important parts we need to talk about the female reproductive system. Students, ovaries are the important part of female reproductive system. They are going to release egg. This is also known as ovum. And so after the ovulation means it's a process of releasing of egg from the ovaries. That particular process is known as ovulation. When the ovum is released from the ovary, it will go and reaches the fallopian tube. Understand? And through this way, a sperm cell going to enter into the female reproductive system, and it travels across this uterus and the cervix, vagina, cervix and all uterus, and it is going to reach the tube-like structure, that is fallopian tube. In the fallopian tube, this sperm cell is going to unite with the egg, and it is going to form a fertilized egg, that is zygote. And along with this, ovaries also helps in the production of hormones. As we all know that a pair of ovaries are present, they were situated on either side of the uterus, and these ovaries are going to produce eggs one at a time every alternative months. The eggs are produced by germinal epithelial cells of the ovary. Students, here in this ovary, it is lined with the germinal epithelial cells. Germinal epithelial cells. And these cells is going to release the egg. Understand? And let us talk about the oviduct. It is also known as fallopian tube. This is the fallopian tube, students. It is also known as oviduct. Very important part of the female reproductive system, and it is about 12 centimeters in length. 12 centimeters in length, and it runs from the ovaries to and it connects the uterus. At the ovarian and a tube-like things are the funnel-shaped things are present, that is fimbriae, and this fimbriae helps as it is having the cilia, and which helps to sweep the egg produced by the ovary into the fallopian tube. These fallopian tubes are sites for the fertilization of egg by the sperm, and in the fallopian tube itself, so we can see the process of fertilization, students. Understand? Next, uterus. See, it is located at the center, students, and this one is the uterus. Understand? And this uterus seems to be a pear-shaped body. This uterus seems to be a pear-shaped body, and top of the uterus is broad, and whereas when we'll go down of the uterus, it is going to become a narrow end. Understand? See, this top part of the uterus is known as main body part of the main part of the uterus, whereas this the end part is it's nothing but the cervix, and it is having the opening with the vagina. The upper end of this uterus is the body of the uterus, and the lower end is cervix. At the upper end, it receives the oviduct. See, upper part of the uterus, it is having the connection with the fallopian tube. So, this fallopian tube, so here from the fallopian tube, the fertilized egg travels across this fallopian tube and reaches the uterus, and it gets ready for the implantation of embryo. And this uterus is made up of 3 layers of cells. The first one is endometrium. Endometrium. This endometrium is having the students several glands, and it is also having connection with the blood vessels. Blood vessels. And let us see the second important layer, that is myometrium. Myometrium. So, this myometrium is having the muscular tissue. I said no, uterus is a muscular bag-like structure. And last one is perimetrium, students. This perimetrium is having the connective tissue. Connective tissue. And this is about the uterus, students. The inner surface of the uterus provides site for implantation of the embryo. The uterine wall plays important role during the childbirth. This uterine wall, so they are going to expand and relax. So due to this nature, this uterine wall plays excellent role during the childbirth. Cervix is made up of sphincter muscle that controls opening and the closing of the uterus. See, students, cervix is made up of a special muscle known as sphincter muscle. A special muscle known as sphincter muscle, and which is going to control the opening and the closing of the uterus, which is going to control, students, opening and closing of uterus during the childbirth. Very important, students. And about the vagina. Vagina is a 9 centimeters long muscular tube, and it receives the penis during the copulation. And the vaginal opening is in the young females. It is partially covered with a mucous membrane known as hymen. In the young females, this vagina is covered with a small, very thin mucous membrane known as hymen. So this often breaks early female during the play or strenuous exercises or works. And let us see the pre-fertilization events that occurred in the both male as well as the female. First, let us talk about the post-fertilization events that occurred in the male. See, students, as you all know that in the male reproductive system, we have the testes, right? And this testis, within the testis, it is having the seminiferous tubules, students. Seminiferous tubules. This seminiferous tubules is going to secrete a sperm cell. Sperm cell. This whole process of preparation or production of sperm cell is known as spermatogenesis. Spermatogenesis. Understand? And the precursor of the sperm cell is, students, spermatocyte. Spermatocyte. See students, you just look at this picture. Here we have the primary spermatocyte. So spermatocyte is the precursor of our sperm cell. So initially it is in 2N condition, means diploid cell having 2 set of chromosomes in the nucleus of this spermatocyte, and which undergoes meiotic division to form secondary spermatocyte. Then students, it undergoes division. It will give 4 spermatids, and this is of 1N condition. Single N condition means haploid. These spermatids differentiate, then develop into sperm cell. So finally these spermatids will differentiate and develop into sperm cell. As you know about the sperm cell structure. See, sperm cell structure is having the head and tail, and along with this it is also having the midpiece. A head part of the sperm is known as acrosome. Okay, in the head part only we could see the presence of genetic material. So this is nothing but the acrosome. And next one is midpiece. It is having the mitochondria. This mitochondria provides the energy for the movement and the locomotion of our sperm cell in the female reproductive system. And the last one is tail, and it helps in the locomotion or the movement of the sperm cell. Understand? This is about the spermatogenesis, students. Next, let us talk about the oogenesis. Then I'll explain this figure. As you all know that in the female reproductive system we have a pair of ovaries, and this ovaries is going to produce the ovum. This particular procedure is known as oogenesis. Students, here this initial steps of oogenesis starts in the fetus stage of the girl only. So when the baby when the baby is a girl child, only in her fetus state itself the initial steps of oogenesis will going to occur. See, for example, the starting one is called oogona, and see the formation of oogona and the primary oocyte takes place in the embryonic stage of the girl baby and the fetus stage itself. And female have about 1 to 2 millions of oocytes in its body. So students, 1 to 2 millions of oocytes are there. Very interesting, right? Right. Next, and in the oocyte the first meiotic division is initiated, then stopped. See, at the fetus state itself, okay, the first meiotic division starts and stops over there, and no further developmental occurs until the girl get the maturity age. And after maturity, this primary oocyte, and again it is going to divide into secondary, it matures into secondary oocyte. It matures into secondary oocyte and polar body. Understand? And this only after the fertilization, meiosis 2, it will be completed. And so this occurs, students. Now this is going to combines with the sperm cell, and from the it is there it will be a fertilization process, fusion of male gamete with the female gamete, and by completion of meiosis 2, secondary oocyte gets developed into fertilized egg or zygote. Let us see the picture and analyze the students. See students, this is the spermatogenesis. It is in the male, and oogenesis, it is in the female. Right? See students, so initially this spermatogonium is in 46 chromosomes, and primary spermatocyte also 46. It divides into, by the process of meiosis, it divides into 23, and finally we'll get the haploid sperm cells. Sperm cells at haploid stage, and finally with the 23 chromosomes. And let us see the oogenesis. Same students, Oogonium develops into primary oocyte. It is having the 46 chromosomes within this, and it is going to divide into secondary oocyte with the 23 chromosomes, and the polar body with again 23 chromosomes. And this polar body dies, and this one, our ootid, it gets developed into egg. Okay, this is about the spermatogenesis and the oogenesis, students. Next one, let us talk about the menstruation in the case of female reproductive system. Reproductive cycle in the female human being is called menstrual cycle. The reproductive cycle in the female human body is, students, what is that? Menstrual cycle. Menstrual cycle. And first menstruation begins at the puberty. Okay, and this is but the beginning of the menstruation cycle, that stage is called menarche. The menstruation occurs at average time period of for every 28 to 29 days. The cycle of events starts from one menstruation till the next one, and it is called menstrual cycle. So there is a period sequence of reactions will be occurs from one menstruation cycle to the second menstruation cycle. One ovum is released during the middle of each menstrual cycle. So here for every 28 to 29 days it will be, right. So for every middle of this particular period, ovaries is going to release the egg or ovum. The cycle starts with the menstrual phase when the menstrual flow occurs at least 3 to 5 days. And menstrual flow results due to the breakdown of endometrial lining of the uterus, and it is blood vessels that come out of the vagina. The menstruation occurs only if released ovum is not fertilized. When menstruation is going to happen occur, students, when the released egg is not fertilized. In such case, this uterine wall loses its endometrium cells. Along with this, it's also lose some blood vessels. So these are going to leak out from the vagina. And the next one is, students, pregnancy can be indicated by the lack of menstrual cycle, and it may also cause in some cases stress by the poor health, etc. And menstrual cycle, it ends at the age of minimum 50 years, and this particular stage is called menopause. The cyclic menstruation is indicator of normal reproductive phase and extends between the menarche and the monopause. See, students, the cyclic reproductive phase is going to between the menarche and menopause. Right? Structure of gametes. So we discussed about the free fertilized events in the case of male as well as the female. Now I would like to explain about the structure of male gamete and the female gamete. See, students, each sperm cell is small cell about 5 micrometers length and 2.5 micrometers in diameter. See, let us talk about the sperm cell, students. So it is the male gamete, right? It is the male gamete, and it is of 50 micrometers in length and 2.5 micrometers in diameter. Understand, it consists of mainly 3 parts. Head part known as head, and this one is the middle piece, and this is the tail. Our sperm cell is having 3 main parts: head, middle part and tail. The head consists of nucleus and the structure is called acrosome at the tip. See, students, here our head part consists of nucleus, and the tip of the head it is having the acrosome. And the acrosome secretes lytic substances that break down the wall of the egg for fertilization. See, students, this acrosome is having some lytic enzyme. It secretes some lytic enzymes. So with this, the help of these lytic enzymes, it is going to dissolve the layers of ovum, and by breaking these layers of ovum, it enters into the inside the ovum. This like the beating of the tail propels the sperm forward at the rate of 1 to 4 mm per minute. Actually, this tail is the so this tail gives the swinging movement. With this movement, it can easily, the sperms